Another Mix 2, this time it's Oukitel's. Nice to look at and well spec'd. It seems relatively cheap at only 180 to 200 euros. Let's check out how good it really is in this review. I am Christopher for China Mobile Mac. Enjoy watching. The Oukitel Mix 2 was provided by the manufacturer for this review. The sponsor did not affect our opinion in any way. A shop link is down below in the video description. Even though the Oukitel Mix 2 design is rather simple, it looks pretty. The glossy and pleasantly rounded metal frame is an eye-catcher here. It comes in a deep black on our model, which gets a slightly silver shimmer when bright light shines on it. The Oukitel Mix 2 is also available in blue and silver, although the latter color is yet to be released. The back is made of glass. There is no special stuff like Lumia Wave is here. The glass is relatively sturdy, there are no deep scratches so far. However, some micro scratches are there, so please use the included case if you dislike stuff like that. In terms of build quality, there is nothing wrong with the Oukitel Mix 2. The device could be much more expensive and still nobody would complain. Despite the double glass design, Oukitel has managed to build a very sturdy phone there. Bending is almost impossible even with a lot of force. But there is a price to pay. With 239 grams, the handset is still incredibly heavy. However, this is compensated somewhat with a moderate thickness of only 9.2 mm. Not a bad value at all considering the 4000 mAh battery inside. The front looks very clean, the Tri-Bezel-Less design is well done. However, some people might be bothered by the positioning of the front camera. The upper bezel of the Mix 2 is slightly thicker than on other similar phones and measures 4.3 mm. Left and right bezels are slim at 1.8 mm, not including the metal frame of course. And the chin area is 13.7 mm, which is slimmer than on the iPhone S8 for example. The Tri-Bezel-Less design makes the Oukitel Mix 2 very compact. Despite the larger display, the phone isn't much bigger than for example an iPhone 7 Plus with 5.5 inches. After the first power up, the screen immediately catches one's attention. The display is simply gorgeous. The 5.99-inch panel offers really intense colors, deep blacks and therefore a great contrast. The image is razor sharp due to the resolution of 2160 by 1080 pixels. It is bright enough even for sunlight use, but can also become dark enough for comfortable use at night. The viewing angles are excellent as well. If the colors seem too intense to you, Mediatek Mirror Vision can be used to make appropriate adjustments and, for example, reduce saturation. But it's not only the display itself that is top-notch, the touchscreen is also very convincing. It's a 10-point touchscreen, which does not have any of the issues you usually get on cheaper Chinese phones. Fast writing works without constant typos, the performance really is comparable to more expensive premium phones, totally on par with, for example, Xiaomi phones. We cannot tell whether the display glass is Gorilla Glass, Dinorex or Dragon Trail. The manufacturer simply doesn't give any information on this. What is certain, however, is that it remained completely scratch-free in 2 weeks of using it. The glass also is slightly oleophobic. It does still attract fingerprints, but they can easily be wiped off. The gliding properties are good. And also in terms of performance, the so far very good impression continues. The Oukitel Mix 2 is one of the most smooth running phones with the Helio P25 processor that we have tested so far. The performance is absolutely comparable to the Meizu Pro 7 with P25 chipset. In everyday life, the handset runs really snappy and is simply fun to use. The gaming performance is also quite good. Unkilled can be played on high with a smooth frame rate, and Asphalt Extreme also runs smooth at maximum graphics settings. It is noticeable that the good optimization results in significantly less heat than with comparable devices. This means that there is no thermal throttling and the chip can deliver its performance in the long term. As a pleasant side effect, this also reduces energy consumption. Multitasking is also no problem thanks to 6 GB of fast LPDDR4X RAM. The RAM management isn't very restrictive, so you can run an enormous number of apps in the background all day long without having to reload them when you need them. 64 GB of eMMC memory is available for data, which is relatively fast. If you don't use dual SIM, you can also use microSD cards. The slot provides a good throughput. This time we were pleasantly surprised with the fingerprint scanner, which is not only very reliable, but also unlocks the phone without long waiting times. There is nothing wrong with the other sensors either. The phone even packs a pedometer. The gyroscope works perfectly so that the Oukitel Mix 2 can be used for 360 degrees videos and VR apps. The compass had some problems at the beginning, but those could be solved with a calibration. Since then it has worked without any issues. Still, we have two reasons for criticism. First, there is no notification LED on this phone, and second, Oukitel again use a micro USB port instead of a new Type-C port. Next, let's talk software. Here you get Android 7.0 with a security patch from January 2018, which is great to see. OTA updates are supported, but whether there will be an upgrade to Android 8.0 isn't known, but you shouldn't bet on it considering Oukitel's previous update policy. As usual with Oukitel phones, the OS is almost stock Android, only the launcher has been customized, besides of that it's pure Android. There are a few additional features in these settings, including a one-hand mode for easier operation. Bloatware is not present except for some Google apps and an emoji keyboard that can be disabled. The Play Store is pre-installed and all languages are supported. We did not notice any major errors or bugs during the testing period. A smaller bug only affects the function to force full screen mode for apps that are not optimized for 18:9 screens. This feature simply doesn't work. You can enable apps for full screen mode, but they still won't fill the screen. Let's see if this will be fixed with the first update. In mobile radio, the Oukitel Mix 2 moves in the upper midfield in terms of reception quality and offers band 20 LTE support. The smartphone offers ABGN Wi-Fi support and reached 95 Mbit/s next to the router, as well as 39 Mbit/s one floor below. There were no signal losses. Bluetooth 4.0 offers an enormous range with the Mix 2 and covers an entire floor, as well as some rooms in the floors above and below. The GPS signal strength is good, a fix is reached quickly and the accuracy reached up to 1.7 meters. In tracking, the smartphone is quite accurate, only with tracking in your pocket and many buildings around it can be slightly off. There were also no serious dropouts or misdirections during navigation. Within cities, there are sometimes short deviations which however quickly disappear again. The speaker inside the Oukitel Mix 2 delivers quite a high volume, mostly without distortion, but it doesn't get along well with classical music. A little more bass would have been nice too. It's great to see that there still is a 3.5mm jack and headphones thus can be used without adapters. The sound is minimal bass heavy, but otherwise very good. There is no interference and the volume is quite high. When making calls, the phone delivers an acceptable quality on both ends, but apparently there is no support for voice over LTE or HD telephony via 3G. The main camera of the Oukitel Mix 2 consists of a Samsung S5K 3P3SX sensor with 16 megapixels and f2.0 aperture, as well as a secondary sensor with VGA resolution. The front camera uses a SuperPix SP8407 sensor with 8 megapixels and f2.2 aperture. The main camera produces useful photos in daylight, but they are not perfect. The amount of details could be higher, the overall sharpness better. The noise behavior in darker areas could be improved as well. But in terms of colors, the pictures are convincing and the shutter time is quite short. Bottom line, the pictures are always good when you don't have very high demands. There is little to criticize in bright sunlight. Lowlight is something the camera doesn't handle that well. The noise in the images increases rapidly and sharpness decreases. However, we have to admit that it still performs better than the average in this phone category, especially with night shots. Just look at those pictures. They are by far not perfect, but not totally unusable either. The LED flash is quite bright and illuminates large rooms well. However, the longer exposure time also enhances the unsightly characteristics of night shots. Thus, the flash is mainly suitable for close-ups and macro photography at night. The bokeh mode is of course useless since the secondary camera is not used at all. This is just another fake dual cam. The front camera is much better than most of the other Tri-Bezel-Less Xiaomi Mi Mix clones from China, but still can't reach the level of the front camera of the Elephone S8. The front camera has its own LED flash, but this one did not work on our review unit. The Oukitel Mix 2 can record videos in up to 4K Ultra HD with its main camera. Unlike many other Helio P25 smartphones with this feature, the videos even have a decent quality. The details don't get lost in a truckload of fractals. In fact, the picture is quite clear and detailed. The colors look pretty good too. There's just one flaw: the videos aren't smooth. They don't stutter extremely, but still, that could be done much better. What's missing as well is EIS. However, continuous autofocus works relatively well. Smooth videos are only captured when you go down to Full HD resolution. Interestingly enough, the Oukitel Mix 2 still delivers high quality recordings then, so for Full HD clips, this phone is quite usable. And the front camera records usable videos as well. However, you have to live with 720p resolution only. As far as the audio quality is concerned, it is okay but not perfect. The audio is a bit too quiet and wanted ambient noise doesn't really want to get through. Due to the good software optimization, the Oukitel Mix 2 uses its 4000 mAh battery very efficiently and brings its user through one day easily. With less intense use, 1.5 or even 2 days are possible as well. Charging takes 1 hour and 40 minutes. Conclusion: the Oukitel Mix 2 is a pretty good phone. Of course, the camera could be even better, a status LED is missing and the handset is extremely heavy, but as a compensation, it does a lot of things right. Great build quality, an impressively good screen, great performance, good reception quality, a headphone jack, a good battery life, and clean as well as largely error-free software. Considering that the Oukitel Mix 2 is available from 180 euros, this phone packs a punch, so in the end we can recommend it to anyone looking for something like this. And that's the end of this review. A shop link and more information is located down in the video description. I was Christopher for CMM, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.